taking three.
Going for the St. Louis now.
Oh no!
Son of a bitch.
You get your two?
Yeah. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thotgor here, of course. And today we're going to have another episode in our series, Learning from Our Mistakes. Yes. So we have two clips in today's video, and the first one we're taking a look at, you can see I'm in the Rune, and I am on Islands of Ice. Yeah, I had to think about that for a minute there. So Islands of Ice, right? This is a wonky map, and it's a wonky map because the C cap point is all the way down here in the south. A and B are a little closer to each other. For whatever reason, the team always favors going C. Not that going C is a bad thing. It's just, it's really hard to fight down there at C, I find. I mean, unless I'm in a destroyer, I'm not too inclined about going into C. I do generally try, I mean, if that's where the team are going, or if that's where I spawned and I should be supporting it, I will try and provide support from the rear, but that's about it, right? I mean, it's hard to get in there, especially at the beginning. You know, that you're going to engage the enemies the first down there, and for a cruiser to be spotted first and get focused on, you know there's going to be battleships off, right, that are aiming at you that just aren't seen just as of yet. So they just might get a lucky shot and take you out. At these tiers too, I mean, if you do have to face off against Yamatos are really, really accurate, as I'm sure you're aware. But anyway, in this battle, I mean, you can see that there are some people who are going down there towards C, right? They're kind of pushing in, and I figure, I mean, I'm turning at this point, right? I don't really know what I'm doing, and that's something else that I really don't like, and that I don't know how to approach, or maybe how to make it better. You know, when you have those battles in this situation, like look at the mini-map, right? Our team is kind of scattered around. We don't really know where we're going. There are a few ships who do know where they're going to C. Suddenly the enemy starts capping B, and it's like, well, alright, I'm going to turn and we're going to start engaging at B. Now I'm in a Rune, and you know, I don't have great concealment on this thing, so I'm spotted. There's a destroyer that sees me. I'm not going to see the destroyer, so I just have to get out of here. And you know, at this point in time as well, the team really doesn't come in here and support me. Like, it would have been a whole lot better. We have two destroyers, right? So if maybe one of those destroyers even would have went to to B, we still could have fought it out at C, right? We are actually capping C right now. The two destroyers that are down there at C really doing stuff. But, you know, I mean, you're going to see what use it actually ends up happening, or what use it becomes near the end of the battle here. But, yeah, it's just, we really got, like, you take the cap and move along. Move along. Unless it's under direct enemy fire, just move along. And especially depending, I mean, yeah, this is another thing, right? Don't plow into your enemies, learning from our mistakes, damn it. But anyway, depending on the type of destroyer that is down there, maybe defending the cap, you might only really need to have one destroyer down there, right? Now, our destroyers down there are under attack, so I mean, they're working over the enemies as we speak, and luckily we are able to get there, get up to A, and we have another destroyer at A capping, so I guess not both destroyers are at C, but whatever, they split up, right? But I always find on Land of Fire that B is really the more critical point here. If you can get C early on, fantastic, and then if you can get B, great. And it's not that taking A and B is a bad strategy. Oh, no, it's a great strategy in its own. It's just, generally speaking, when you're playing in these random battles like this, the enemy team will be focusing B and C as well. I mean, they might not know it at the beginning, right? But even if, as you saw, our crazy scramble here at the beginning, and even now, right, where all of our ships are just plowing into B, getting ready to die, basically, myself included, obviously. But yeah, if you can push A and B with knowing that you're going A and B, and really having the team focused and you know, somewhat organized, it can go fairly well, especially at these higher tiers. I mean, you do play this map at higher tiers, and it does heavily depend on the amount of destroyers, because you do also need to take the ships that are on the opposing team into account, right? We all do it. In this battle, we're lucky. There's only 2 enemy destroyers on the enemy team, so we don't have to worry about that. So we're engaging, trying to take B. We did manage to secure A, so that is great because we've lost C. We also, no, we haven't lost the destroyers down there as of yet, but they're still duking it out with the enemy ships. We are making pushes into B, right? You can see it. Now you can also see that the enemy aircraft carriers are all over our aircraft carriers, and in fact have taken out one of our aircraft carriers. So that kind of sucks. So now it's one of our aircraft carriers versus 2 of theirs. More torpedoes are on the way as well. So you can see that the enemies were all over this. I mean, it does look like they went mostly B, but you can see that they did manage to get a nice strike force going towards C. And even those, we see them now, I think it's an Amagi, and there's another battleship out there as well, these 2 guys right now. They're able to push down into C and still fire at us at B. And I mean, all of my allied ships basically are here at B. And it's fairly catastrophic right now. Sure, we're capping, but we're just completely out of position, right? Or, well, I guess we're in position, but we're not organized in what we're doing. I mean, even myself in a rune here, I'm like, flank or trying to push around corners, seeing what's there. You can see I'm doing it now. This is pretty careful, pretty safe. Didn't want to push beyond it. I mean, you can see that there are enemy battleships off there in the distance, right? And I'm not going to get broadsided by those guys. That's what I don't want to happen anyway. And my allies, we only have lost 2 ships, but the carrier is really significant. Because, you can see the enemy aircraft in the sky here. They're just working over our ships, especially our battleships, and you have to give credit to the enemy destroyers as well. They are doing a really good job at pushing us out of B. Right? Look at the torpedoes coming in, just wave after wave, and we are just getting completely pushed out of B, right? Even if we wanted to get in a little closer, it's complete madness, because look, we've got enemy battleships all around, there's still destroyers around, cruisers in the background, who are going to fire at us when we try and get in there. So I wasn't willing to go in there. I was like, wow, screw that, we just took C, right? I'm thinking everything is fine, we have 2 points, a cap advantage. Now at this time, so we can make up the difference that we have in points since we've lost ships. That's what I was thinking, and it's this sort of thinking that really led to my maybe non-contribution to the battle, right? I start playing it way too safe. I'm pushing away from the cap. Yes, I know I'm dodging torpedoes, but you'll see here as well, like I just start pushing away and trying to support from the background and just too far. And it's because I just don't want to go in there and get destroyed by the enemy battleships. I know that my team isn't necessarily helping in this regard, but I have my own fault in this as well, right? To play here. Now, Zumo in the background, we have lost a battleship and another cruiser, so that is fairly tragic. Those were allied ships that made suicide runs into B. I didn't want to end up like those guys, so that's why I didn't go in there. But still, what am I going to be able to do against these enemy battleships? I mean, sure, I can get lucky because enemy battleship and the cruiser are focused on another allied battleship of mine, so I can get lucky right now, especially in a rune, to do pretty decent damage to this Izumo really quickly. The problem is I have nowhere to maneuver right now, right? I can't turn to starboard. You can see the enemy's off to starboard, so can't turn there. I don't want to turn port because I don't want to give these enemies that are right in front of me a total broadside, so I'm trying to maneuver myself using an island as cover here as best as I possibly can, but I do end up taking the starboard turn because this is the turn that I figured I had the most room on. In the meantime, enemy aircraft carrier continues to work over our battleships, right? And it's kind of sucks because battleships are going down quick. I get lucky, the Izumo goes behind the cover over there, and I'm able to turn and get myself out of sort of a situation where I'm going to be full on broadside to him, right? I can still effectively fire into him. We can see he's firing back at me, but it's just a matter of turning out of the shot to mitigate any incoming damage, right? And I get lucky with those with those hits that I took. Meantime, we have lost we lost C. One of the destroyers who was down there is gone, so lost that zone, so that kind of sucks. You can see now as well, my team starts to think, and I'm starting to think it too, I mean, I'm doing as well, B is basically lost. We lost a lot of ships trying to take B, and now all of a sudden, switching over, trying to get C. You can see some of our allied ships down there, right? To the south of C, they're trying to put pressure on it, and there's just this complete disorganization going on here that really need to learn from, right? And you can always say too that the enemy team, those players were just really good, and they played a really good game, and they definitely did in this battle. Definitely played a really good game here. Not going to discredit the enemy team, right? They haven't even lost a goddamn ship. And look at us. But it doesn't matter how good the enemy team is, as you have to be somewhat organized if you want to put up any sort of resistance at all, right? Any sort of resistance at all. And so far, we haven't done that at all. And you can see it by not even getting a kill in this game. No one on my team has done it. We just lost another ally. So that's our aircraft carrier gone. So both aircraft carriers are now gone. And the enemy, again, hasn't lost a single thing. So this is what we need to learn. Just some sort of organization when you go into a battle. Even though things are getting rough, right? You got to stay organized and support the team. And players, key ships on our team, like when our battleship pushed in there to B and just got slaughtered, that was a big blow for us, because that battleship was in an excellent position to provide close range support to, say, maybe some cruisers or even a destroyer, because we had destroyers helping to take B to finish the cap, right, and maybe provide a little bit of close range support at any enemy destroyers coming in. So there's that. So finally, I managed to get a kill. At least my team has got one kill on the scoreboard here, right? Finished off the Thotgor with a few citadels, so that's not too bad. We've got a McHale in the background, so I'm going to try to do a little bit more damage to him. Try and maybe not redeem the team, but at least redeem myself. Everyone, oh, well, we just died, only one enemy ship killed. But who killed that ship? I did, right? So, another nice citadel on the McHale, but all for naught, right? We still do have A, granted, but A doesn't matter, and the enemies know that A doesn't matter. They have B and C. That's all they need. I mean, maybe it'd be a completely different story if our push, to B, was a little stronger, more organized, and especially if the destroyer who went to C, maybe if that player would have just came over, that ship, because it's not the player, well, it's not the player's fault, we'll say that, but that ship would have been really, really useful in B, to have another destroyer right in there supporting our destroyer. I think that would have made a big difference. And the battle for B on Islands of Ice usually is the battle that's going to determine the outcome, because from B you can support C, and you're really close to A. I mean, there is some cover at A that ships can use and hide behind, right? And you can only get certain shots in at certain points, but still, you're fairly close to A, and you're going to be able to get support in there really quickly. Not a whole lot we can do. I mean, my team did manage to take out another enemy ship, so that's fantastic. One of those enemy destroyers is gone. There goes another enemy destroyer, so that's also fantastic. At least the enemy destroyers got theirs. You can see an enemy ship is making its way towards A, so we're going to be losing A shortly. And we did manage to take out another enemy cruiser, so that's excellent as well. So at least now we have a few kills to our name. But it's so late. It's so late. It doesn't really matter at all. The point difference here is just not going to get it. You can see as well in these sorts of battles, not to say, right, because we all know RNG plays a role in this game, a very heavy role, but typically in these battles, near the end, the people who have survived are usually the ones who were like, what is going on, right, trying to support all these different fronts at once, supporting the push that the team is making, or if they're not those players, then they're the ones who ran away and hid in a corner or something. Those people exist, we've all seen them. So, yeah, it's just tragic. And then by the end of the match, there's only a few few of you left, and there's not a whole lot you can do. I mean, I'm trying to shoot at whatever I possibly can right at this point, but again, I'm not willing to go into the cap. You can see the enemy aircraft carriers coming in, right, hunting us like wolves. There's only one ally battleship remaining. He's behind me. He's about to feel the wrath of the enemy aircraft carrier. There we go. I die. That puts our points into the negative, or rather gives the enemy over 1,000 points, and we lose. Damn. It's just, we got to be a little more organized. And I do find it, particularly on this map, Islands of Ice, it's always a little bit of a shit show right at the beginning. Sometimes it's not, but generally it is. Anyway. I mean, at least at the end of the day, I made some money, right? There is always that. Alright, so moving into the next clip, we can see we're on north, what is it called? Northern Lights? Yeah, Northern Lights. And we're in the Zao. So I was hoping to be able to do some sort of meaningful impact in this game because I figured that the chances were pretty good. I mean, I'm pretty familiar with this map. Good cruiser map, right? Or at least I find anyway. I like playing cruisers on it. Easily able to switch in between caps, right? So it's just a matter right now of figuring out where does the team want to go, right? What points or 2 points are they going to be closest to and able to provide the best support towards, and that's what I'm looking for right now. Now, while all of this is happening, I mean, we're just going to move around. Generally what I do while I'm waiting for this to happen is I'll push a little forward depending on what cruiser I'm in, and then usually I'll make a turn to port like I'm about to do here as we're cruising to B. Make a turn to port or starboard. If I turn to port, then I use the islands there as cover, and if I turn to starboard, then generally I can do a little strafing run, but just to see what is out there, right? Keeping in mind, I'm not going to be firing first, right? Once something pops up, maybe let some of my allies engage, or just let it sit there for a minute, because you know that at the beginning stages like this, there are going to be enemy ships in the background. Now, learning from our mistakes. So, the mistake that I'm making now, pretty obvious, right? Getting really close to B. And I wanted to do this because I figured that if I got closer, you know, I'd be able to do a bunch of damage really quickly and then turn out of it, use islands as cover. That was the thinking behind it. The problem is battleships in the background. We don't always see them, and sometimes it's, you know, forget that they're there. Now my team is focused C. Looks like we do have some ship. Well, we have one destroyer sort of stealth capping B right now, and the rest of us are going A. So this is another problem. We're just too spread apart at this point. You really want to take 2 points that are next to each other, especially on the maps where there are 4 points. It's just so critical. It just makes so much more sense. I mean, when there's 3 points, yeah, you definitely want the 2 that are next to each other as well. But if you don't, I mean, it's sometimes a little easier for the team then to push on both sides and take that middle point. But when there's 4 like this, you don't have that option always. And enemies can be spread out a little more, so not going so great. Even though, at this point in time, we capped B and we capped C. Now the hold on B is tenuous, right? There's one destroyer there, maybe some maybe a cruiser in the background or a battleship in the background, maybe providing support, right? Over at C, we have a few more ships. There's a cruiser, a destroyer, and there's a battleship as well back there, so that's pretty great. The majority of our forces, though, are concentrated over here at A, and this is where we really wanted to make an impact. So that's where I was, right? This is sort of what I wanted to do in this battle. There are enemy destroyers, and you can see a bunch of torpedoes in the water, so we really have to be careful about this. I wasn't willing to get too close. I'm going to use the range of my Zao here to the advantage, or at least that was the sort of thought process going on. I really should have been firing, I think at these distances, high explosive. That would have been much more effective, but whatever. We're now losing B, right? The destroyer who was at B is now dead. That is fairly unfortunate, but we're losing B anyway. There are still some enemies around A putting pressure on A. We've got C still, but the enemies now have capped D, so things are progressing. Things are progressing, but I still don't like, and if you look at the minimap, you can notice, right, there's a whole gap in between my allied ships and the enemy ships. A big gap. Now, some of my allies do recognize what's going on here, right? You can see the Imagi off to the port side. He's turning back. He's still firing on A, but he's turning back. It's at this point as well that I'm starting to think and consider, right, maybe I should be turning as well. Go support the Imagi. We can get in there, maybe harass these enemy ships, get them gone, and that might help even up the score here, because the allies look like they're taking A. And I don't really think that we are going to be needed at A anymore to do anything. So starting to think, right, that I should be turning around, getting back over to B, getting over to C, maybe closing this gap between myself and the allies. Not working out though. Not necessarily working out. We do still have 3 allies over there at C. Now the allies that I have at A we finally capped A, so that's pretty good. We're at cap parity now, but we lost 2 of our destroyers. The enemies in the meantime still have all 4 of theirs. So this is kind of terrible. I do finally decide to turn around and go support C, like make the ultimate objective of getting to C, but support this Imagi along the way, right? Do what I can to get him there as well. You can see enemy battleships in the background, and we're really just, I mean, at least I'm cruising at full speed here, trying to get there as quick as I possibly can, and I'm not really considering broadsides. And that's sort of another mistake. I mean, I am doing vain maneuvers here. We do see enemy Admiral Hipper, I believe, off in the distance. Yeah, I was thinking not that necessarily that big of a threat, and I don't know why I was thinking that. Probably just to lie to myself. Because Admiral Hippers are really, really hard hitters. And at range, they do very great. At least I do pretty great at range in my Hipper. Enemy torpedoes come in. So obviously we know there's an enemy destroyer somewhere in the channel over there. We've got an enemy Imagi off in the distance as well. So that's not great. So our push over to B hasn't been very successful. But you can see my allies, now I thought this was great. My allies over there at C have decided to abandon C, and it looks like making push into B, right? That is going to be fantastic. We'll trade C and we'll take B. Why not? In the meantime, and to let them do that, I am going to support B. That's what I'm going to do. You can see I've got a destroyer moving in. We do have some enemy destroyers, though, we need to keep in mind. I mean, as soon as these guys popped up, I started engaging them immediately with whatever fire I possibly could. Did a bit of damage to them, so that's not too bad at all. Now the enemies do have C, so now the enemies have all 3 points. Yeah. The allies I thought that were moving into B, no, didn't go for it. Shimakaze wasn't having none of that. So I started thinking to myself, oh god, oh no, like I'm going to have to push in here. We're going to have to do this because we can't sit here like this with 3 cap points. It's just not going to work. We need to take out Shimakaze, so there we go. He's gone, but we do need to push in here. And this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to try. Now, we've talked about it before. Cruisers have I mean, at least I do. I don't know what you guys find. I do have a hard time in a cruiser pushing into a hotly contested cap and trying to take the zone. So you can see I'm maneuvering around, considering my options here before I'd make any hasty decisions to go in there, because I wasn't too liking that Hindenburg off in the distance there, right? Wasn't really enjoying that guy. Even though he just did a bit of damage to me, we're going to repair it. I'm going to try just to continue to push. Now, enemy Zhao pops up, and I wasn't expecting this at all. I just didn't account for him at all, and here he is. He's putting shots into him immediately, right? I'm loading up my armor piercing, hoping to get some nice citadels on him and really bring down this guy's health really quickly. That is what I'm hoping now. I mean, suddenly all of my attention is focused on the Zhao, and I'm not considering the cap points anymore, right? I was so focused on going in there, taking B, gotta take B, we need it, right? Get back to cap parity. No. Suddenly the Zhao pops up. It's all over. I'm thinking about the Zhao. Now he's got Nabuki. Is that Nabuki? Could be. In the background, helping him out as well. And now I know that things have gone from bad to worse. Our allies, finally, you know, we are all grouped up, but we're not putting up any sort of effective defense here. The enemies are even capping A now, right? We're losing the last point that we had. It just went terrible and went downhill really, really quickly. And the problem was, I think that you could kind of see it on the mini-map. The people who did go to A were really committed and wanted to go to A. But then there was the people like myself and the Amagi who split off from that group and tried to group up with the people at C. We tried to get in there and take B. Once we did that, the allies we had at A started retreating. They stopped their push, right? They were going to come back and help out. Hence they're taking A right now. There's still an enemy ship in A, a destroyer, I believe. You can see one of my cruisers in there trying to hunt them down. And then enemies from C popped up, and at least in my case, those guys just freaked me right out, and I lost sight of the whole thing, the whole strategic outlook here, right? And just never went in and pushed B. And look how out of position I'm getting right now, too. Not really capable of getting in there now and taking B before time goes out. I mean, yeah, 926 points, right? They just took out, and now they're allied ships, so that sucks. We've got torpedoes incoming, so I'm going to need a bit of room to turn around and maneuver, but if I do that, I might actually take a torpedo, so need to be very, very careful. But it's all for naught. 953 or 988 points now, I guess. Over 990 now, and it's all over, right? Just very quick. Again, not very organized, and losing sight of the actual capping, taking the actual cap. This was an incredible loss for the Zao, right? 432 overall experience, and this cost a bunch of money. I'm sitting here shaking my head. It was awful. just awful. But at least by seeing it and being aware of this, hopefully when we're playing other matches, we're able to see this and really, react accordingly to it. And a big key to all of that is looking at your mini-map, paying attention to that mini-map, the unfolding situation. Anyway, that's the end of today's video. Now, before we go, tomorrow I'm going to be having the dental procedure to fix that tooth. So I have no idea what that's going to entail. Well, I do, but I don't know, levels of pain and what I'm going to be like afterwards. So there may not be a video tomorrow, but I'll see what I can do. Anyway, hit the old like button if you did like today's video. Leave any comments you have for me in the video comment section below. Hit subscribe if you are not a subscriber, and as always, I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day.